We need audio check though during live. How do we know when it starts? You start, right? Did you? I can see. He started.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to Figuring Out Friday, brought to you by Healing Your Way. And as you can see, we've definitely stepped up our podcast setting game. We are here with this beautiful big fire in front of us, all ready to get into a conversation about energy drinks. Last week, as you saw from our Instagram post, we had some technical difficulties. It had to do with setting up with all of this new equipment and figuring out the best lighting, the best angles, and everything. So unfortunately, we weren't able to give you guys a podcast last week, but hopefully we can make it up for you guys in this episode today. And as you can see, we have quite a few cans of energy drink beverages right here, and that's going to be our main focus today in what we're going to get into. We're going to talk pretty extensively about it. We're going to go into how caffeine actually acts in the body, what the different types of caffeine there are, what the different types of energy drinks there are. We're going to go into the ingredients of those energy drinks, and some of these drinks might be common to you guys. You might be consuming some of these on a daily basis. I know some of us have been doing the same as well, but now we did some research and are going to provide you guys with some good answers on what are good choices and what are not so good choices. So yeah, um, I think to start the story off, we should kind of get into how caffeine affects the body and what it does biologically.
So, so I'll be talking about what happens when we consume caffeine and like what does our body do to respond to it. So as we know, like every hour that we are awake, like we every time muscle contracts or we do something, we burn like ATP. So one of the ingredients of ATP is adenosine, yeah, part of the ATP. So every time we burn ATP, it's we got adenosine left in body. So that just goes into our brain, and in central brain, it basically just grows together, and as time passes, like we have more adenosine in brains. Adenosine is a molecule that goes into receptors, and that tells our nervous system to it's time to chill and like slow down and get ready to sleep as adenosine grows. So what does caffeine do? Caffeine is like a basically it's almost identical molecule which can fit into adenosine receptors, and when we consume caffeine, basically caffeine just goes into those receptors and just fighting off those adenosine just to fit into that receptor. But what happens when it goes into receptor is that it doesn't activate or inactivate the receptor, it just blocks it. So adenosine cannot just go in and let our nervous system know that we've been awake for, let's say, 10 hours or whatever. So when we drink caffeine and those receptors are getting taken up, you basically half the time of your awakening. So if you've been up like, let's say, 18 hours and you drink caffeine, your brain might think that you've been up for only 8 hours or something like that. So those adenosines also, like, it doesn't stop growing and building up. So as time passes, imagine you have more adenosine grown up, and when caffeine is gone, caffeine has like a 5 6 hours half life, so quarter life will be like 10 to 12. So around that time, when it's slowly these like what do I say? It jumps out the receptor basically when caffeine time passes.
Or like when
Don't
it's metabolized pretty much, like broken down or metabolized.
Yeah, when it's broken down, adenosine jumps back into those receptors, and imagine you get hit by a wave. So that's what people call caffeine crush. Like
Yeah.
when you get hit, it's like getting hit tsunami of adenosine
Yeah.
into your receptor.
Like I heard somebody say it's like running on fumes. When you drink
Yeah,
caffeine later in the day, your biological clock is telling you that you need to wind down and go to sleep. But when you're blocking your adenosine receptors, you're tricking your brain into thinking it's the start of the day, it's start
mhm,
where you're trying to do more work early in the day. But it's also true that adenosine builds up when you expend energy. So the more energy you expend, the more adenosine will build up, and you can have the rise and crash if you're blocking it and having caffeine later in the day.
Hmm. And also, like blocking adenosine receptors, it causes like a chain reaction. So imagine when those receptors are blocked, we produce more dopamine, which gives you like those jumpstart of motivation. You get suddenly motivated and want to learn. You also activate norepinephrine, which is sharpening your focus and reaction times. And we also have your acetylcholine and glutamate to make it easier to like learn and pay attention to some kind of stuff. So that's why people, I guess, seek for caffeine because they get these benefits from it. But it depends on like what time you consume and when you stop drinking it, because I know a lot of people and also doctors like they recommend drinking caffeine but only like morning times. So whatever your bedtime is, just uh minus 10, 12 hours, and that's like a sweet spot. And also you have to keep in mind that after you wake up you have to wait like 90 to 120 minutes, so that'll be hour and a half, 2 hours before you drink caffeine. And also, like, there are people, so as you drink caffeine, you get adapted to the caffeine. So those receptors also, adenosine receptors, the brain realizes that what's going on? Why do I have so much adenosine? So it starts to create more receptors. So as you create more receptors, that means like you have to drink more caffeine to go get those same results as you were getting in the past. So that's why people get like caffeine adapted. They can adapt.
Like they
Get,
build
Yeah,
tolerance
they
to
can
it.
build tolerance against it.
yeah, and it's like it's this continuous loop where your body's wanting more and more caffeine because, like you said, you're getting more receptors, so your body's looking for the caffeine to stay awake. So
Mhm.
if you're in this loop over and over again, you that's why we're here. We're trying to tell
Yeah.
you why it's a good reason to quit using caffeine at certain times of the day.
And
Mhm.
I think also, uh, I didn't know that Mike just mentioned about the neurotransmitters that are released when you consume caffeine. But if the neurotransmitters like norepinephrine and dopamine are being released every time you consume caffeine, that I think plays into the addictive part about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
because dopamine and norepinephrine kind of give you, like you said, like a motivation and a rush to go and complete something. And if you're relying on something like caffeine to give you that feeling, it makes it very addicting. And I just want to also point out that the kind of myth that Mike just kind of uh busted right now is that caffeine doesn't really give you increased energy. You may get increased energy from the neurotransmitters because it increases alertness,
Yeah.
but technically what the main thing that it does, it blocks adenosine. And it does adenosine accumulation, like he said, signifies that the body is fatigued, and it's pretty much just saying, telling your body that you're not tired when you actually are, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah,
that'll lead to a crash. So just to clarify up, caffeine does not give you increased energy. It just is an illusion that you have more energy than you do.
yeah. Like I said before, it's your body's running on fumes that you don't have. It's like you're running on empty, but you know, you just need to refill your tank and get some sleep and
Mhm.
not use caffeine as a source of energy every day.
Yeah. Also, caffeine causes like excretion excretion of sodium from the kidneys. So in a lot of Europe countries, you will see like they will give you a water next to coffee when you order coffee, so you can rehydrate. So it takes to rehydrate, you can just drop pinch of salt in your water after drinking coffee or caffeinated drink, and that will also help you rehydrate it. Also, I know some people who get like overstimulated, they can take 100 milligrams of theanine, and it helps you to like calm down and calm your jitters. You
You
know?
said L-theanine, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
right. And also, like I was mentioning, there are people who are caffeine adapted and people who are not. So those people who are caffeine adapted, like if they miss the doses of caffeine, they might start experiencing headaches. But thing with them is that if they drink that caffeine, it will dilate their blood vessels, so they actually have more blood flow in their brain and their body parts everywhere. But if you are not caffeine adapted and you still drink caffeine, your your blood vessels get contracted, so it's even worse for you. It gets even worse. So
Yeah.
you have less blood flow.
Wait, so if you're not caffeine adapted, then
You got like
your
headache or
your
less blood flow in your body.
mhm.
Like you feel like you don't have enough blood flow. And some people drink coffee because they want to dilate those blood vessels. So if you're not caffeine adapted, it's not recommended to drink caffeine because it will contract your blood vessels, so it will slow down your blood flow.
Yeah, your blood plasma gets thicker when you're drinking caffeine as
Mhm.
well. So you would think your blood flow is not going to certain parts of your body. Say when you exercise, you need your blood flow through your muscles. So you're not going to get that if you're drinking caffeine all the time.
Mhm.
So caffeine adapted means you just have a high tolerance.
Yeah,
Yes.
just high tolerance to caffeine.
That means you have like more adenosine receptors already like building up in your brain.
And to fight this tolerance, like recommending someone to limit their caffeine intake
Yeah.
to a certain time of day would help.
So the
Like coming off of any other addiction, kind of a thing.
recommendation is like intermittent drinking of caffeine. I know some people like, let's say one day you drink coffee and next day you don't, and that kind of thing. Like you can plan it out and see like what will be the best plan for you, because I know some people they miss their coffee and they just getting crazy migraines. Also, like every individual has like different enzymes that break down caffeine. So when we consume this caffeine in our liver, like some people might be breaking down those molecules like really fast. So like when people, let's say, drink coffee around 8 p.m. and they say, "Oh, I can still fall asleep," the thing with that is that your liver is breaking down those enzymes, but that caffeine is still in those receptors. So you're not getting as much of deep sleep and REM sleep as you should. So next day you're gonna be waking up, damn, why my head hurt? What's going on? And you're gonna drink 2 cups of coffee now because you have a headache. And that will basically like drop your life length and expectancy like maybe 15 years.
And what are some things that somebody can do to counteract the things that they've been building up using caffeine every day?
First of all, I think the half life I mentioned, like you have to calculate your bedtime and minus 10 to 12 hours. Start with that to just have one morning coffee or whatever. Make sure also you drink coffee after hour and a half, 2 hours after waking up. So make sure like your brain
But you
wakes.
said half life of how many hours you?
So half life of caffeine is like 5 to 6 hours, and
Mhm.
quarter life is 10 to 12. So that's how they calculate.
So yeah, so for example, if you took, say, a lot of these beverages are around the 200 milligram caffeine mark. If you took, say, what's like normal bedtime, 10, let's just say 10 p.m. Go 12 hours earlier. That gets you to maybe, wait,
I mean, you can still go 10 hours, man.
yeah. If you just go 10, yeah. If you just go 10 hours earlier, which gets you to 12 o'clock, half-life, let's just say, let's just even cut it short at 5. Let's say you somehow are able to metabolize caffeine even extra. If you consume that 200 milligram drink, so the 5 hours is the one half-life, that means it's at now at 100 milligrams,
Mm-hmm.
and then take the second half-life, which would bring it to 50 milligrams. You still have 50 milligrams of caffeine in your system
Yeah.
at 10 p.m. And that's equivalent to drinking like maybe a 3/4 cup of coffee right before you go to bed. And no one, I think, would ever do that and expect to go to sleep. So when people are drinking that high doses that much earlier in the day, they don't realize how much caffeine is still in their system.
Yeah. And the enzymes I mentioned, liver enzymes, they're called cytochrome P450 enzymes. So if anyone wants to search up or don't believe, then I guess we can move into the next topic.
I
Oh,
think
wait. I did want to say because he did talk about how some people drink water while having
Mhm.
coffee in the morning. I want to say it's so important to have be re-energizing yourself with electrolytes and also hydrating yourself, because caffeine is very dehydrating. Like you said, when it blocks your receptors in your brain for adenosine, it also blocks adenosine receptors in your kidneys as well. And this also prevents, by doing this, it prevents reabsorption of sodium in your blood. So you will have less electrolytes for, say, energy you need later for a workout. So having less electrolytes will leave you less energized during the day, because you need these electrolytes for muscle contractions and things like that. And a way that I would say people are forgetting is that once you drink caffeine right before a workout, you're also losing a lot of hydration. So um, during your workout, when you sweat, you might not be sweating enough to where you're so that you can regulate the temperature in your body. So a lot of things get thrown off when people are not paying attention to drinking caffeine earlier in the day and being mindful of having your electrolytes and being proactive when it comes to that.
And yeah, I think the next part after we kind of just dissected what caffeine does biologically, I think we should go into the different types of caffeine.
Yep. So I'm delighted to cover this topic of the types of caffeine. And I want to do a quick reiteration of what Mike said. You know, I got a little phrase over here. Light before latte.
Mm.
And I'm sure any of these guys can back me up. I'm in no way anti-caffeine, but I'm anti-using it to mask my circadian problem. Yeah. So I feel like that's a good place to start. Um, what is caffeine? Caffeine's a methylxanthine, which blocks adenosine, which Mike touched up upon, which basically is that molecule that makes you sleepy. And that translation, you're borrowing alertness. Now, your body will eventually have to pay up, with sleep, or your body will charge you with interest, you could say, in the forms of cortisol. And I'm gonna dive right now into the types of caffeine.
Like keep a little closer.
So the types of caffeine, the high and low quality of each one, as well as how it's processed and the effects on your body. So I'm gonna dive right into coffee. We all know coffee is the world's most popular caffeine source. It's brewed
Over tea?
uh,
Actually, no. Yeah, I think yeah. When you think caffeine, you think coffee.
I
I
think
agree with that.
Depends on the country, right?
Yeah, it depends on the
There
country.
you go.
biggest caffeine source. Rephrase that. But it's typically brewed from roasted beans. It's in those 8-ounce cups that serve around 95 milligrams of caffeine. And, we can look now into the Arabica beans, which is that lower caffeine, but that smoother taste, versus the Robusta beans, which is the higher caffeine, but with the bitter and harsher taste. And the processing really, I want to emphasize here, it really does matter from if you take from wet to or wash to wet process, which gives off that brighter and cleaner flavor, versus the natural or dry process, with which I'm talking about is dry inside the fruit. That gives off a much like a fruitier, but it's less consistent. So, and the high quality one, it's those Arabica beans I just touched upon, which is found in those high altitude regions of Ethiopia, Guatemala, and Colombia. And those low quality ones, those Robusta ones I just touched upon, those are found in your natural blends and instant coffee, where the beans are really processed carelessly. Now, beyond caffeine, coffee brings chlorogenic acids, which are those antioxidants that help with metabolism and inflammation. But again, I'm gonna repeat this throughout the spiel. Uh, Timing really does matter here. Drinking late, you risk those cortisol spikes and that melatonin suppression. Now moving on to my next source, like Sahan just said, tea. Tea, there's so many different kinds of tea, I'm sure we all know, but they're all come from the same plant, but how they're processed is the main difference between all of them. So I have a little bit of notes here. We got green tea, black tea, oolong, white, and matcha. If I'm missing any, you guys feel free to chime in. Green tea, it's lightly heated, it has that minimal oxidation, and it's grassy and high in those EGCG antioxidants. And just to um, reiterate on that, for I didn't know what this was before, but ECG antioxidants, they are those properties that help in cancer chemoprevention. So green tea is really good for that. Black tea, it's fully oxidized. I have my original notes here. I found it kind of bold and malty. I don't know if you guys feel the same way about black tea. I know Joshan drinks a lot of tea.
Yeah, I drink a lot of teas, especially jasmine tea. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It has caffeine in it too, so people can drink that as well.
Yeah, talk about my thing.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah, I like jasmine tea too. Like he was saying, black tea is good as well. It has caffeine in it, so I think it's a good option.
Yeah. Oolong is partially oxidized. I found it sort of like fruity in a sense. White is the least processed one, and it's kind of delicate and subtle. That's how I found it. And then matcha, my personal favorite, is a powdered green tea leaf, and it's the higher caffeine since you consume the whole leaf. Now, if I had to talk about like tea as a whole, it's usually around 30 to 50 milligrams per cup. And the higher quality ones are usually those whole leaf, those shade grown matcha, and single origin teas.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, if somebody was to try to satisfy their needs, like, say they're used to 200 milligrams of caffeine. Like you said, there's a lot less caffeine in these teas. So I'm wondering, like, would they have to drink like more cups like the tea, or do they add like more tea leaves? Like,
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like tea drinkers usually don't drink coffee, so they're just adapted to the tea caffeine intake.
so it's like different. You would
usually
say
what-
like it's a different type of feeling.
Because the like you said, the L-theanine, it really like
Yeah, like
I
calms you
think
down.
I think they'll notice. I saw a lot more similarity to like uh I know Alex is gonna get into the synthetic caffeines in a bit, but I saw more relation or more similarity between drinking coffee to the synthetic caffeine. They both have that like alert type of um uh or caffeine rush feeling compared to tea. I think it's because of the L-theanine. They some of them include it, but tea that's like usually unique to tea, I think.
Um, yeah, just hitting off of that. I just talked about the high quality ones. The low quality ones are usually those dusted like broken leaves and that dust that you find in those like cheap tea bags. So you want to sort of avoid those at all costs. Um, I know Mike just touched on this a couple minutes back. Tea's secret weapon is L-theanine, which is an amino acid that really smooths out caffeine's edge. So whilst coffee can give you that jittery speed, tea is kind of that like calm focus. So I know for me personally, I always drank tea at night, like the night before an exam, if I had to like lock in for a couple more hours rather than popping a Celsius or a coffee. That would not be the best choice.
Absolutely, right.
And it's much more healthy for you too.
Now moving on, we're gonna head to South America. Couple of like small soccer players like Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez, they use yerba mate. Um, it comes from a holly tree. It's processed traditionally in a ground with a metal straw. I'm sure you guys all seen like picture that I'm referencing to. Kind of on the go. It's kind of it's similar. People call it a cousin of caffeine, but it has like a strong serving that can give off that coffee like uh caffeine level, but its effects is what really separates it. And yerba mate contains theobromine, which is that cousin of caffeine I was just relating to, that relaxes blood vessels, and it helps. It also contains chlorogenic acids as well as sapropins, which are the plant compounds that help with immunity. And this result is sort of a more smoother and a more balanced buzz in that sense. The high quality mate is shade grown and dried cleanly, very similar to matcha. And the low quality is often heavily smoked, which can add those harsh flavors and even carcinogens.
So like it can be cancerous if you have the smoked one, right?
Yeah, and it also can lead to like all sorts of infections that you don't want to catch. And the basic caution I've had here, I have it highlighted. Drinking it scalding hot and in very large amounts daily can lead to a higher cancer risk. So moderation is really key here with yerba mate. Now, this one I had a little trouble pronouncing, but not all superheroes wear capes, and Mr. Sahan helped me.
Yeah, we had to go over it quite a few times, but let's this is the moment of truth to see if he can get the pronunciation right.
So the moment you all been waiting for, number 4, Guayusa.
Perfect. Perfect execution right there.
Practice makes perfect. It's from the Amazon. Again, typically sun dried and brewed like tea. 1 cup around averages around 40 milligrams of caffeine, and also depends on the leaf dose, of course. The high quality is sustainably harvested. It's very similar to yerba mate because it's from the same region. And its low quality is those filter blends. The effects, it's smooth, steady, and with that less edge. Like mate, like I said, it has that theobromine aspect, so you get those circulation benefits and that wakefulness rather than like a jolt like you get in coffee. Now we're going to cacao. It's the base of chocolate, but it isn't mainly a caffeine story. It's mostly theobromine. You can kind of see a pattern here with a smaller caffeine dose. So higher quality cacao is usually fermented, those minimally processed beans, and the high percentage like dark chocolate.
So
I like dark chocolate. That's why he's looking at me right now.
wait, so the energy that you get is mostly from the theobromine?
Yeah, if you kind of see the last 3, yerba mate, guayusa, and cacao, they all got that theobromine, which really separates it from tea or coffee.
We should do a dark chocolate taste test soon, right?
Nah, that's all him. I'm comfortable with it. Low quality is usually from those candy bars, which you should already not be eating, you know. So it's pretty self-explanatory from there. The only difference with this one than yerba mate is that the theobromine here is slightly weaker, and it gives out that this is a direct correlation to the nervous system stimulant, where it relaxes the blood vessels and improves that blood flow. So cacao can give you that gentle uplift, but not so much of a boost. And it's not that sharp hit of coffee. I feel like if we're looking for the most like sharp jolt, you want to get something real done, you're gonna go to coffee. Moving on to our 6th one, cola nut and those other natural blends. Cola nut, we're gonna move to Africa. It's from specifically West Africa. You can find some in the Amazon though still. So those are the caffeine powerhouses. Guarana especially, it can pack 2 or 4 more times caffeine by weight than those coffee beans. The high quality ones are the transparent ones that tell you how much caffeine is in it. I feel like that's a green flag to look at any caffeine source. The low quality ones, those are those proprietary blends, which kind of stack across energy drinks and those pre-workouts, which are pretty dangerous for you in the long run. The effects of these, pretty strong, long lasting. Guarana in particular releases the caffeine dose slowly, so you might not feel it straight away. And it's kind of bound to tannins, so the buzz can stretch out for hours. The biggest risk here with these natural blends is there's a label where people unknowingly double or triple dose, and this can really wreck their circadian rhythm, which is what we're trying to avoid. Moving on to my final one, anhydrous and salts. This is purified caffeine, either extracted or synthesized, and it's used in those pills, gums, or those pre-workouts. There's pharmaceutical grade versions that are very precise in this sense, and those cheap powders and sketchy supplements don't so much fit in this category. The effects, I'm sure we're all familiar with this. They're fast, they give off that fast stimulation, and if you want a predictable jolt, they're perfect for that workout. I don't know if any of y'all popped it before an exam. No.
What like pre-workout?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can say I have because out like a bunch of the like energy drinks that we have here are like a good majority of them are anhydrous or synthetic caffeine. So these also count. So if you've had a Rockstar, a Bang, a C4, a Monster, a Red Bull, or a Celsius before an exam, then that means you have.
I thought we were talking about the 5 hour boost barrel from Wawa.
5 hour,
Oh,
5 hour
you're
energy.
supposed to try that out.
Oh, 5 hour. I think that has synthetic caffeine, but these are all still fall in the um under that category as well.
Yeah, I don't usually pop before exam because it's kind of you get I go anxious feeling.
Not gonna.
Yeah, but I feel like I popped it like for studying reasons.
Oh, to like if you didn't want to study to give you like extra boost to get in the mood to study.
And also I had to do some overnights for
Oh,
biochem and stuff like that.
The all-nighters.
So I had to use handy dandy Red Bull or Celsius.
Yeah, sometimes we get put in these difficult situations, but like we're providing different options for you. So if you're having an all-nighter, you can choose to have green tea or something like that. Like he said, he's used it before. It's helped him stay focused, not have that rise and crash.
but best case scenario, plan out your studying. Don't pull all-nighters. But yeah, but if you have to, then yeah, circumstances, you just need to sometimes just get things done.
Just to wrap up here, kind of like we just all reiterated, it's easy to overdo that and mess up your circadian rhythm. So a single teaspoon of that pure powder can be lethal in that sense. And this is why you should only touch those products with a transparent and trusted labeling. And I think that wraps it up for the types of caffeine, unless you guys got any questions.
I just wanted to add something from earlier. Like San said, when he was having some energy drinks maybe before a workout, or we all have at some point, but you get extra dehydrated because you also excrete the electrolytes you need via urine. So you're having double the loss when you're sweating during a workout too. I just wanted to add that as well.
And one other thing, most people or a lot of people who are like in the gym culture, for some reason, they tend to go later at night for and I don't know if you guys can relate, but I see this all the time, even at my local gym when I mean I used to do it as well. I would see everyone who went at night who like, they were pretty jacked, had like big muscles and stuff, but they would always have some type of energy drink in their hand. And I'm just thinking, remembering now, I wasn't able to fall asleep if I had a workout at 10 p.m., I wasn't able to fall asleep until like 4 in the morning. So I'm just thinking to myself now, the people who are going into the gym at 10 p.m. drinking any of these energy drinks right here, I don't know how they're even like functioning
Yeah,
because it's just insane. And as you know, most gyms are blue light lit, so that's just gonna throw your whole internal clock and circadian rhythm out the door if the caffeine hasn't already. So yeah, that's just like worst conditions possible, pretty much.
Yeah, that's been the worst thing. I thought you were gonna say why do people just go to the gym later at night? And for me, like I feel like the main reason is you might get a better sleep after working out at night. But yeah, if you're drinking like these type of energy drink, it basically throws that whole like concept out the window.
Yeah, cause yeah, I can get it, cause to build up some fatigue or get some energy out by working out. But if you're introducing caffeine and then also the blue lights in the gym are not gonna help out
yeah.
either.
And if you think about it, they're only drinking that caffeine for that specific time where they're working out. So after there's a lot of time where you're still having the effects of caffeine and you're trying to go to sleep. So it's throwing your whole circadian rhythm off. And when you're sleeping, that's when you get all the recovery. So even if you worked out, you're not getting the proper recovery sleep you need after the workout as well. So you're kind of doing yourself like a like that by doing this over and over again. It's not really good for any recovery.
Yeah, not to throw shade, but no way they got jobs to go to in the morning, especially when I was doing that. Maybe they're just so caffeine tolerant that they maybe can fall asleep, but I would definitely not recommend that lifestyle.
I know a lot of people work out at night because the gym is usually less busy. But I feel like on the flip side, like if you go early in the morning, there's also like not that many people there. So that could be like an alternative instead of just waiting till night and messing up your circadian rhythm and everything else.
Or just like yeah, or yeah, scheduling your lifts when maybe it's during the daylight hours and you have some time. Yeah, but I think yeah, if you go at night, I would personally recommend like instead of consuming a caffeine drink, there's these things called pump products, and they're for example, like the main ingredient in them is L-citrulline, and that boosts nitric oxide and helps blood flow to your muscles, so you'll get a better pump. Hence why it's called a pump product. And I think that's why a lot of people consume caffeine in the first place. But it's also called non-stim pre-workout. So it's pump products or non-stim pre-workout is pretty much the same thing. I would rather like yeah, you guys reach for something like that because that's not really gonna mess up your sleep as much.
Would the non-stim products usually be more expensive, you say, or about the same price?
No, like if you get most pre-workouts are caffeinated, right? So it's pretty much I think they're relatively similar. It's pretty much just a pre-workout without the caffeine. And I think some people might be like a placebo, like they kind of use it to get in the mood to work out too. So like when they get take or drink their pre-workout, that's like their bodies or their brains like mental cue to be like, okay,
It's like a
now we're gonna go now we're gonna go lift. So I think that's like definitely if you're more like ritualistic, then maybe like opting for the non-stim is much better.
And I also wanted to say that like one tactic I did use when I was trying these drinks out. The first day I had a monster. One of the days when I was testing out the energy drinks. 'Cause I'm not an energy drinker, and I prefer coffee in the morning. But when I had Monster, it gave me a massive headache after, and I was not having good effects, especially because I had exercise later in the day. But the next day when I tried out C4, I took a little electrolyte tablet as well as drinking several cups of water. And I noticed during my training later in the day, I didn't feel too fatigued after the workout, and during the whole workout, I didn't have a drop in energy at all. So I think even though it's not good to have these energy drinks because of all the side effects, I think if you want to counteract it, you should definitely have electrolytes and be hydrating yourself very well. Because I think it's from my experience, it's worked wonders. So yeah.
And I think, yeah, since we just wrapped up the convo on um types of caffeine, we can then go a bit more in depth into ingredient lists and additives to um these types of caffeine that you will usually see in energy drinks or pre-made beverages. And pretty much yeah, the main ones we're gonna focus on as far as ingredients are the ones that you can see right here. So I can just list them out for you as a preview. We have Celsius, green tea, Red Bull, coffee, Ghost, which is also an energy drink. Then we have black tea, Monster energy drink, C4, yerba mate, Bang Energy, and then finally Rockstar. So, I selected these for the group to kind of research and think about because I thought these were the most common ones that people usually reach for. But
Yeah, and
yeah.
I also wanted to add that like some of us may not have tried these drinks before, so we have tried them out and figured out which ones are our more preferred one after seeing how the effects played on our body. So yeah, we're just gonna go over what we think about them.
Yeah, and I think Michael right here is gonna go kind of extensive into the ingredient list.
Back to what Roshan was saying earlier about the first time trying.
Wait, Michael, hold a little bit higher.
Oh, his first time trying Monster, and it gave him that headache. So for that, it would be right here. So on here, there's aspartame. So I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it might have been one of the sugar-free ones because a lot of these energy drinks, so there's a lot of sugar. You can just think about it. 54 grams sugar, that's about like 13 teaspoons.
Yeah, I think I actually had the original one, that one, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but like, yeah, about like 13 teaspoons, so you get that crash. But to counteract that, or some of you guys might think it's a healthy alternative to go for sugar-free versions. And so they would use sweeteners instead of sugar. And that's has just a bad effect as sugars. So one of the first ones is aspartame, which usually found in like the sugar-free Red Bulls, and it's linked to like dizziness and uh, it's an artificial sweetener, so it has about like 200 times sweeter than actual sugar.
That's why it's like zero calorie because they're able to use smaller doses of those artificial sweeteners, but those smaller doses still pack a lot more punch as far as sweetness than something like sugar, which requires a lot more of, and that's why regular table sugar is much more calories.
And I also heard that artificial sweeteners can put a strain on your gut as well. I'm not sure if one of you, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that. And then next we also have sucralose, which here and I I found it mainly more in these four. So you got Celsius goes, but actually no, Bang, Monster, and
Sequel.
Seaboard. Yeah.
Mhm.
So sucralose, it's actually this is one of the worst ones. It's 600 times more like sweeter than caffeine, and it's made through a process of chlorinating uh sugar molecules. So it's using that sugar molecule, taking out that hydroxyl group and putting in chlorine, which this makes the sugar molecule way sweeter, but it also changes the whole complexity. So that's why it also messes with your gut biome and inflammation. Uh, and with sucralose, it also
Michael, hold your mic like steady to your mouth too.
yeah, it also messes up with the like insulin or glucose control. And then next we have stevia. So for that, it's gonna be it's yerba and Celsius mainly. And stevia, it's more plant-based. And this one, it's more on the healthier side. And for the ingredient label list, when usually it says natural, you want to look for either stevia or sugarcane. So this is usually healthier.
And I think Celsius, yeah, some of them might have like combination of multiple different types of sweeteners. So you'll often see drinks that have um both artificial sweeteners and natural sweeteners. Yeah, for example, like Celsius, you said that you said it had stevia in there, right?
Yeah, stevia, and it's usually stevia and sucralose.
Stevia and sucralose.
Oh wait, guys, I also wanted to say if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Like I have them pulled up, the chat pulled up here. So if you ever have any questions, just feel free to ask during the live.
Yep. And then for the last sweetener, we have uh, these three. So this one's gonna be, let me see if I can get this right. Acid fulmane, acid sulfame, potassium, and
Or Ace K
ACE K.
is a short for
And
that.
it's also 200 times sweeter than normal sugar, and it has about the similar effects as sucralose. So that's inflammation, and also it messes up with your gut biome, which I'll let Britt go more into the details about that. And yeah. Then moving on, we have additives in these. So this is also part of their marketing. So if somebody could finish the sentence, Red Bull, their marketing, it's usually for F1 snowboarding, but also their main slogan, Red Bull gives you
Wings.
Yeah, there you go. And in one of the additives is taurine, which you have uh, I keep grabbing ghosts, but it's C4. C4 stuff is Red Bull.
Alex, you look like you don't like those ones, do you?
I'm a die-hard Celsius fan, and my loyalty lies there.
Maybe we should switch the order because what he's holding is more my go-to. uh, and for taurine, this is a sulfur-based amino acid, and for this guy, it helps you with heart, brain, and also muscle functions. And this one, it also helps you with muscle endurance. But taurine, a lot of the time, it gets a bad rep because it's linked and associated with caffeine and sugar. So when you get overloaded on those two, uh, taurine is supposed to come in and help like reduce the jitteriness. So it actually has a lot of like great benefits, including like cardiovascular ones. But it just gets a bad rep because of that. And then next you have uh, L-carnitine, which is going to be in. Also, yeah,
Damn, so Celsius got like everything in it?
that's something it does.
That's why it tastes so nasty. But it gets the job done. That's what matters.
Yeah. And for L-carnitine, this is amino acid derivative. It's uh, this one, it actually goes back to your mitochondria and it shuffles the fats into your mitochondria. And in that process, it actually uses the fats to help burn and use that as energy. So a lot of the time, L-carnitine is marketed as like a fat burner. And it's very important when you're exercising or when you're fasting. And then next on the list is BCAA. So this one is only two. It's going to be, yeah, Bang and C4. More of the gym pre-workout type of branding. It's more towards like gym rats. And BCAA, it stands for branched chain amino acids. And this one's an essential one, meaning your body doesn't actually make it. So for the past ones, like the taurine, you actually get that from like food such as meat, fish, or dairy. And the L-carnitine, you get that, you make that right in your liver and kidney. But for BCAAs, it's gonna help with muscle endurance, and also at the same time, it's also if you're low before you work out in the gym, some people they might have like Rice Krispie or fast acting carbs for energy workouts, and it kind of substitutes that. So BCAA is really it's situational in the sense that if you're working out fasted or you have a low protein diet, this may help.
Yeah, because they usually recommend like in a pre-workout meal, or like what I think you could learn in a bunch of nutrition classes is that your pre-workout meal should comprise of some form of carbohydrate, and that depends. The carbohydrate depends on how long, or 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 it depends on the time between you consuming the meal and when your workout is. But also they say to consume protein as well, because it aids in your workout. So yeah, I think it's BCAAs or the branched chain amino acids hold more value when yeah you're in a fasted state or haven't eaten a lot of food prior to the workout, or yeah if you have a low protein diet, because technically if you eat enough protein each day, the BCAAs are not really gonna give you that much more added benefit. At least, am I right about that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And also, there's a comment from the chat. So how much water and electrolytes should you have if you drink a cup of coffee? Should it be more than your regular water intake? And from my experience, when I had that energy drink, the C4, I was testing out if electrolytes and water would affect my training later in the day, and it really did. And what I didn't look out for what the amount exactly, but I know I did drink at least 2 liters of water with the energy drink, as well as a combined electrolyte tablet. And the electrolyte tablet you should look for sodium, calcium, magnesium, and potassium, especially for your electrolytes.
Yeah,
And those are the ones you will lose during a workout, like when you're sweating and things like that.
yeah. Dr. Andrew Huberman told us that if you want to rehydrate, pinch of salt and cup of water is enough.
Mhm.
Or 1 cup.
Yeah, because sodium is the main electrolyte that you lose via urine because of the caffeine intake. So a pinch of salt is definitely important as well.
Or you can get, my mom bought this not too long ago, mineral salt. So it has those other electrolytes in there as well. Because usually the one you get from main one you get from salt is the sodium, but it has uh added amounts or increased amounts of the potassium, calcium, and magnesium.
And then going back to the BCAA, uh, not only does it help with muscle burn, it goes into your motor pathway, and it's supposed to help with muscle recovery. But the important thing is you typically need 5 to 10 grams a day. And when you're talking about the additives in the energy drinks, most of the time there's not even like enough in there for it to make a difference at all. So 5 to 10 grams is what you should aim for. And uh, and then next we would have beta alanine, which again it's C4 and Bang. And beta alanine, which most of you guys probably have heard, it gives you that like itchy or like tingly sensation, and it's supposed to help with your workouts, your muscle endurance. And it lowers the amount of lactic acid that builds up in your muscles. So that way you're able to push more weight.
For a longer period of time.
And you typically want this for high intensity workouts. So workouts that are like stretch for longer durations. Typically beta alanine is not the most suitable for. And even for this one, you want 3 to 6 grams. Again, it's not enough in these guys to provide that. So it's way better if you don't drink it, but you supplement it instead. And the last one will be this so-called super creatine found in your Bang energy drink. And this one is it's not even a real creatine monohydrate. So therefore it's not very bioavailable, so you're not even able to absorb it very well. And yeah. And also to add on, uh like you were saying, Celsius basically has everything. It also has vitamin Bs, but that's supposed to help your enzymes basically break down carbs, fats, and proteins to use as energy. But that's the thing. The thing is, if you're very vitamin B deficient, because this excess vitamin B is very water soluble, so this excess you're just gonna it's gonna leave your body in your urine. So that's why, Alex, you can back me up on this. If you drink Celsius, you might have a more yellow
Urine.
pigment.
Yeah, and powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was great explanation, man.
yeah.
But I also
Thank you.
think even though they, like Michael just said, all of these different energy drinks have additives and compounds that are kind of supposed to give you enhanced focus or whatever characteristics that they're kind of marketing on their cans. I think just thinking about the fact of the caffeine content is the most important part because uh most of these drinks right here are in the 200 milligram range and over, and that is like significantly high just for one beverage. And if you think about packaging too, I know we talked a good deal about packaging in the water podcast we did. But what I want you guys to understand is that caffeine is very acidic. And it even when you consume it, it stimulates the release of gastric acid juices in your stomach. But just uh, leaving that aside, caffeine is generally acidic. So when you combine acidity with um, a packaging that may be releasing some toxins or chemicals into the beverage, you can see that the fact that it's caffeine itself or caffeine beverages are more acidic, that makes it more prone to leaching of these certain toxins and chemicals, which then end up in you when you finally consume them. So I think packaging is definitely one thing to really note when you're drinking these, and that's something that's definitely toxic. So that's why I would stay away from energy drinks as a whole and go back to kind of what Alex said, thinking about what are the best quality teas and coffees, and then buying those ones and self brewing at home. I think that's the best way to go about it because there's definitely things that are getting leached into the drink from the packaging because of the acid content of of the drink.
And a lot of these energy drinks, the companies exaggerate like the effects of what it's supposed to do, right? So just to catch your eye, like you said, like there's not enough like enough of that compound in there to give you the actual effect that it's marketing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and also like we talked about before, the aluminum actually has a plastic lining on the inside, so microplastics too, with all these cans right there. If you
Yeah,
remember from our previous podcast.
and also
Yeah.
aluminum toxicity with more not the sides of the can, but the top. That's usually more of a risk. And I just want to say one thing I saw with the ghost on there. It says it on the back. It says must only be consumed by a healthy adult
That's
that
word.
is 18 years or older. So if a drink is saying you have to be healthy at first to consume it and 18 years of age or older, that definitely like at least to me is a concern. And do not be surprised if you get some type of like heart palpitations or shortness of breath because I definitely experienced that with the caffeine beverages that are like 300 milligrams or above. And if you have any cardiovascular issues or hypertension, which is a high blood pressure, this is definitely not the way to go. By the way, we are no medical experts. We just
Hmm.
did the best research that we could, and I genuinely think that we're giving you guys the best information here. But just to throw that out there, so
Yeah,
we don't get in trouble for anything.
Mostly just our opinions and what we think about it,
Yeah,
and
and
what
then
we
what the science
yeah,
says as well too.
and what we redo everyday life. You know.
Yeah, and we're giving you guys good opinions because we've all tried each one of these beverages
Yeah.
before before coming and talking about them.
Yeah, we was not gonna do a taste test at I don't know
Yeah,
when.
yeah.
No,
Sorry,
O'clock
yeah,
at night.
we couldn't do a taste test for you guys.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add, like, one of the very first times I ever had an energy drink was in high school, and it was for finals week, and I have never had an energy drink before at that time, and I had two of them, and I felt so like sick. I felt like all the palpitations and like they're probably around 400 milligrams of caffeine, and like I couldn't fall asleep, but I was so sick that I felt like I couldn't go to school, so I just went to sleep and I didn't take my exam. I took it another day.
Just to one up you, I tried Monster for the first time at 14. So not even with just a heart palpitations. Like
Oh.
got that drink slapped out of my hand by the teacher. I was,
Oh.
and if you guys look back at this, all of these cans are very, very colorful. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, I think so too, especially the ghost one. That like Swedish fish. No way they made an energy drink flavored Swedish fish. Like
Bro, they come out with crazy flavors.
look at the C lift up the C4, Alex. That one is what? Grape popsicle flavor?
Oh my
Like
god.
also uh another thing is the artificial flavorings and the dyes, which are highly carcinogenic. So every time you're consuming a drink that has some weird or very unnatural color to it, you're pretty much increasing your risk of cancer. So
Yeah.
what I like to oh, go ahead.
Yeah, the reason I brought up the color is because the dye it makes it feels more powerful, refreshing when you drink these
Yeah.
energy drinks, and the dyes are made. They're usually petroleum, made from petroleum, so the same thing that your gasoline gets refined in, and these are you usually see red 40, yellow 5, blue 1. That's the type of stuff you see, and these basically there was a study done in UK. It was called the Southampton study, and they basically gave these kids foods and drinks with these dyes in them, and it basically messed up, especially the kids that are ADHD prone. It messed their alertness, their mood swings, attention span, so all of that, and that's why after that it was lawfully required that companies come out with like warning labels in Europe. So that hasn't actually really processed over here into the US. But there's been times where, for example, like Kraft mac and cheese, they had a bunch of yellow 5, yellow 6, and after a lot of protesting, they actually removed that. And after removing that, their sales didn't actually go down. So these companies are actually able to make these same products without all these
Yeah.
like different harmful dyes. It's just if there's enough of a push, you're able to get that effect. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want you guys to think about like all these things we've been saying are aiding to the rise and crash of your body. Like one of the things like where caffeine spikes your norepinephrine and epinephrine, during a workout, your adrenaline also gets spiked too. So your sympathetic nervous system is getting overloaded. So a lot of these things like sugar, will like he said, all these sweeteners can like really kind of throw off your nervous system.
And I want you guys to view like just food in general. Um think about like if you want to consume something or not. Think about if it's like one of the things I uh heard about on this podcast with Chris Cormier. He said eat God made pretty much. So if something is not God made, then you don't consume it. So like all of this stuff, I guarantee you, not God made. This is all synthetic, man made stuff. So that's why I am gonna advocate now. Just stick to tea and coffee. If there, I'm saying this right now, there's no way you like cannot drink coffee and not get the same effect as these because I literally tried it out, and coffee is like if you really want like a good stimulus, coffee will do that for you. You might have to drink a little bit higher dosage, and I'm gonna get into a little bit later how you can eventually come off of caffeine because people reach for caffeine because there is misalignment or the something wrong with their environment. So whatever environmental toxin or Q that has caused a disrupt in the body gives way for the need for all of these beverages. So it's a problem with your environment and not so much you. So don't try to reach for things, or especially synthetic things, expecting that it's gonna fix the environment around you. You have to fix the environment around you in order to address all of the issues that you're having, especially energy wise.
Yeah, and like you said about all these things inside of there being not natural. We went to Bali this summer and we saw a real coffee plantation, and if you tasted the coffee, it's exactly how it's supposed to taste like. But if you taste something like that Dunkin' coffee, right, or if there's a Dunkin' coffee or like something like really sweet, it's like you'll notice like it's kind of the opposite of everything that you're supposed to have.
And I was completely wired because we in Bali they give you uh, uh, a coffee sampler, so a bunch of different cups of coffee or types of coffee, and I would say I only had a sip from each one because like they give only one sampler for like a whole family, and just like maybe one spoon of each of maybe 5 cups was enough to like make me stay up like very late in the day,
Yeah,
and being jet lagged too. So
yeah,
like
and
I think that says a lot.
yeah, and there's no sugar as well in those cups of coffee, so you're not having a crash later in the day too. So, having it straight from the source was like a good opportunity for us to realize.
And a lot of these are made to like keep you coming back too. That's why like all the crashes can really mess up your hormones and hormone signaling. It's like playing a tug of war with your body almost. It can really like mess things up.
Do you
Yeah,
want to go
definitely.
deep into what happens in our digestive system
Yeah, and can
after we
you
consume?
bring your mic up a little bit?
I think it's sounds good.
Yeah, so talking about the digestive system, I just want to mention first, in high school, I had a friend, uh, he would drink 2 Monster Energies in the morning, and then he would save another two for the rest of the school day. And sometimes he would even have an extra for me sometimes. Yeah,
Is this
that
kid rich
guy,
or something?
huh?
Is this kid rich or something?
He's not rich. He just likes driving his truck, and yeah, he likes 5 hour energy too.
He might come after you after this.
Yeah, after, if he sees this podcast, he coming right for your throat, buddy.
He said he drank so much that his skin started turning blue.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
He-
that guy was crazy.
Yeah, he just exposed this guy. This guy's probably gonna come for us now. So, that's him right
Hopefully
there.
this guy is still around.
Yeah, I was actually talking to him the other day.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
Hey, bro.
I asked him specifically if he's still drinking all the energy drinks, and he said hell yeah.
Oh God.
I'm a little worried for him, but
We'll send him this podcast right after this.
yeah.
Don't worry, won't help him, bro. He got like max 15 years there.
Yeah.
So in terms of the digestive system, everyone has a nerve called the vagus nerve, and this is accredited with being like the main connection between your gut and your brain. And and this nerve can be affected differently depending on like the dosage of how much caffeine you take. So there's high dosage and there's like low to mid dosage. I would say like a lower to mid dose is around 100 to 300 milligrams, while higher dose can be above that. And a normal cup of coffee is usually around 60 milligrams of caffeine. So these low doses can actually stimulate the vagal tone a little bit because caffeine, as you guys mentioned, will block the adenosine receptors, and this will actually cause like peristalsis in your gut, which is basically the contractions of your intestines to push the food down through your digestive tract, and also, as San mentioned, increased gastric secretions, which will basically signal to your brain that you're in rest and digest mode. Uh, and so that's why at low dosages, caffeine can actually stimulate that. But the higher doses will actually do the opposite effect on your vagal tone because of the blocking of the adenosine receptors and affecting your enteric nervous system, which will basically tell your body to keep to stimulate the sympathetic system. And different caffeine, different types of caffeine have different effects. Like what Alex was saying, tea has L-theanine, which has a softer effect in your ENS, which is why people have that less of a peak when drinking tea compared to coffee. And as Michael said too, the energy drinks has additives and sweeteners in it that can affect your digestive system. There's a little research linked to increasing the amount of bad bacteria that your stomach will grow from caffeine. And high doses of caffeine will actually cause fermentation to occur in your gut, which will increase the acidity of your gut, which will lead to bad stuff like diarrhea issues, loose stool,
And
um,
bloating too.
bloating, and maybe even gastritis. And yeah, and this can be mitigated a little bit by depending on what you eat. Um, like in terms of the sweeteners and sugars they add in the energy drinks, like an alternative to these things, like when making your coffee or anything, could be something that I tried using for a little bit. It's called monk fruit, and there's some research showing that that's like a more healthy alternative compared to the regular sweeteners that you might find in a common energy drink.
And what I actually learned, there's a uh we buy monk fruit sweetener to add to our coffee and tea usually, but what I also learned is that the sugar alcohols like erythritol. I thought erythritol was a good sweetener, but apparently all of the sugar alcohols cause fermentation in the gut, which can cause some digestive issues and bloating. So if you are purchasing a monk fruit sweetener, make sure to purchase monk fruit sweetener by itself, because there's this one brand with like red packaging, and it usually says monk fruit sweetener with erythritol, and erythritol is one of the sugar alcohols that I thought was actually a good sweetener alternative to table sugar, but I just learned after researching that it had some negative effects on the gut. So just opt for the one that says completely monk fruit sweetener only.
And because of this extra gut motility, people with IBS problems may experience worsening symptoms. And to help deal with IBS, you can try the elimination diet. We did a whole challenge about that. You guys should check it out. And basically, there was also, depending on what you eat, as I mentioned before, affects how you body digests it. Um, so if you eat foods high in fiber before drinking caffeine, the fiber will actually give you that sustenance in your intestines to help hold your stool together so that it's less loose, less liquidy, and you might experience less diarrhea. And if you eat too before you drink caffeine, it will slow down the absorption of the caffeine in your digestive system compared to when you're on an empty stomach, which will spike your caffeine levels and
And
really mess up your enteric nervous system.
And also, like you said, the fiber, it will definitely help your digestive system, especially because you said the muscle contractions are a little less. Muscle contractions are less as well because you're losing electrolytes, which help in that. So definitely having fiber before you have caffeine is a good idea as well to counteract that effect.
And I want to go back to what Prit was mentioning about the vagus nerve and how it's pretty much the connection between your gut and your brain. Um, to expand on that, that pretty much means that um, whatever is going on in your stomach is dictating um, your mood to a certain degree as well. So Mike said that when he drank or would drink energy drinks for an all nighter, or no, excuse me, he said he wouldn't drink it before an exam because it would elicit feelings of anxiousness. That is pretty much like a direct example of how caffeine can affect the gut brain axis, because since it's causing disruption in the GI tract, that then translates to the vagus nerve and up to your brain, and that'll cause feelings of anxiousness. And this doesn't just go for caffeine. This goes for any type of food that causes any disrupt in the GI system, and that's really important. And it really shows why it's important to maintain and try to strive for the best gut health possible, because many things are determined by it, but especially your brain and your mood are some of the main things that it is tied to.
There's also a question from the chat. What is your top choice? This is for everybody probably, but what is your top choice of caffeinated drinks, and is guaranteed better? Is it better to drink than coffee and tea? So out of these choices, yeah.
Just choosing before the knowledge we know now, or
No, after, yeah.
And like, what's my go-to?
Yeah, what's your go-to with all of these? Like based off.
Can I bring in my other option? Like,
Okay, yeah.
for the energy drink, like when I worked at the hospital, if I had to do overnight, like I don't usually go for like these type of brands. I just straight up got black coffee,
Yeah, black. Yeah, the that one right there, the
yeah,
nitro cold brew is like, yeah, the straight black
like
coffee.
just straight cup black coffee. I know people don't like the bitter taste of it, but no, I don't mind because I just use it
For function.
for function, just the purpose of it being coffee, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can. I'm gonna double up on that. I won't say I like black coffee. I like to like add a maybe monk fruit and a little bit of milk to it
Mm.
just for taste purposes. But yeah, I think coffee is my go-to, and it's the one I really like.
I used to drink a lot of Monster and Celsius back in the day, but right now, currently, I've been switching more to like teas. I really like the Golden Peak teas that they have, and also the Yerba Mate that I tried recently was also pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I also would like to say the yerba mate gave me more of that calm and focused type of feeling, and I didn't get any heart palpitations from the yerba mate. Sometimes if I drink too much coffee, I will experience like shortness of breath and heart palpitations, but I didn't experience that with the yerba mate. It really actually gave me like a calm and focused feeling, and it was right before I went into a pretty long study session, and I definitely would recommend it for that type of a
Mm.
setting, because it doesn't make me feel very jumpy and jittery, compared to something like coffee, pretty much.
Um,
Oh, I actually never had yerba mate, but after this 7 day dry fast, I'm like, I'll be
yeah.
trying it out. I know it's also Andrew Huberman's favorite drink, bro.
Yeah, he even has like a
Caffeine.
partner. No, I think he's a partial owner of like a yerba mate drink,
Yeah,
I
and
think too.
Mike's doing a 7-day dry fast, so by next podcast he'll be finished and he'll give you the results of how he feels and maybe if somebody is willing to do it as well.
Yep.
But my go-to drink, I usually will go for the black coffee. I don't drink black coffee that often, but what I usually have is coffee with oat milk. I don't prefer regular milk because of the high saturated fat, because it does mess up my gut as well. So if I do go for caffeine, it's coffee.
and then for me, I would go before I would go for more Red Bull or Monster for that edgy look. But recently, I've been drinking coffee, and again, you guys can any powder that you guys have, you can supplement in like BCAAs or creatine. So I would just mix all that in. It's more convenient that way too.
Yeah, and you're getting the exact products that you want. So the fact that he added in the actual creatine monohydrate is important, because sometimes or oftentimes from something like Bang, you're not even getting bioavailable creatine. So just maybe taking that extra step just to buy the container yourself and then whipping it up to your liking is probably much better. And of course it's a little bit less convenient, but um I don't know. I think it's would be very inconvenient in the long run if you shoot your health right now. So yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna switch up. Um, I have not been trying out coffee, and I've been very consistent with my Celsius usage. But after this episode, it made me, uh, think and self-reflect. So I'm on my path to self-improvement, and I will be trying out other sources of caffeine.
Yeah, and even if he was to work down to a different type of caffeine, he could also supplement with electrolytes, like I said, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, as well as hydrating with the energy drink like Celsius. So like even if he's not directly not using Celsius at the time, he could slowly start to get off it by or like slowly start to get back to normal by having those electrolytes.
And that's really good with the electrolytes because I know a lot of people who, especially in the gym, they need to go through a detox. And again, caffeine's like a drug, and I've just seen them really groggy, like the withdrawal symptoms. So I should recommend them the electrolytes.
Hmm. Yeah. And Prit, did you have anything else to mention about the gut? I would like to, yeah, just reiterate the dosage is very important because as you could see at the lower dosage, um, even one example I like to think about is in um one of the probiotic drinks that I used to consume. I saw that it actually had 50 milligrams of caffeine in there, and I think that was like Prit had mentioned for purposes of increasing gut motility and movement in there, so that all of the probiotics that were included in the drink were then now you know, moving around and getting introduced to the whole GI tract, which is super important. And then yeah, and then if you go on the super high end of the range, it can really throw off your gut microbiome and cause too much stimulation to the point that it really just gives you a lot of bloating, cramping, and if that process or if the GI tract is messed with too much, then all of the food that you consume in the very like very near future is all going to be kind of compromised because your ability to absorb the nutrients from it is highly inhibited because of all of the disruption you just caused. And yeah. And then I think I'm gonna then touch on after moving on from the gut, how you guys or what you guys can actually do in your life to stop caffeine addiction and to completely come off of it. Of course, it's going to be a work in progress and maybe not the easiest thing. And this is especially for Alex right here, so he can get off of his Celsius addiction.
Uh, hmm,
Like, I
Oh,
think it
no
ended.
signal.
well, fine.
Oh, it died. Oh.
Camera died?
You got it. You're like, that one. That's the-
Yeah. What are you doing?
oh. Sorry, guys. Technical
Yeah, sorry
difficulties.
guys. Tough couple technical difficulties.
Screen is
Oh,
black.
I think
It went out again.
Here we are again.
All right, guys. Sorry for those the technical issues. Something happened with the camera where I think maybe it was some. Huh? Okay, yeah. So now what I'm gonna get into, just with the little bit time we have left before the camera fails on us, is how you guys can come off of caffeine addiction and what the best way to do uh to go about it is. So yeah, again, I apologize for the camera, but we can just still continue this conversation without it, because this is still good for you guys to hear. Um, so the first thing, I kind of will want to go over as far as why it's uh, or what you can do to come off of caffeine addiction. Pretty much, it all has to do with cortisol and the cortisol awakening response. So your cortisol awakening response is pretty much the spike in cortisol when you wake up, and that is usually determined by circadian rhythm, and that which is also known as your biological clock. And the spike in cortisol in the morning is what gets you up and active and ready for the day. But what we see often with all of the changes in environment that we've had due to modern technology is that people's circadian rhythms are out of whack and out of line. So, what the thing we want to do is to reset and to also maximize our cortisol awakening response, because that is pretty much where we're going to get our energy for the day. So just imagine on a graph you have like your spike in cortisol that goes up when you are awakening, and that also is kind of a measure of your energetic baseline for the day. So pretty much when you're drinking caffeine, you're kind of chasing energy that is essentially not there. So what you want to do, or how you can increase your energetic baseline, is by increasing your cortisol spike or your cortisol awakening response. And the pretty much the number one way to do so is to wake up and go view the morning light. Like Alex said, light before latte is the memo. And I think people really undermine this because they really are missing out on increasing their energetic baseline significantly, because when you get that initial sunlight in the morning, you increase your cortisol spike. I don't know the exact factor or amount by which you increase it by, but it's significant enough to give you a great energetic boost. And once you kind of uh, hit that window in the morning to increase your energetic baseline, any caffeine that you have later in the day is now exponentially increased in effect. So you can actually make your caffeine much more effective if you take in the morning sunlight and increase your energetic baseline in the morning. So yeah,
Yeah.
just think about, okay, just think about your daily energy being reliant on how high you can spike your cortisol in the morning. And the higher you can spike it in the morning is pretty much going to determine how much more energy you can get from yourself throughout the day. So if you're having trouble feeling energized throughout the day, that is one of the main things that you can do for yourself. And that also requires not going to sleep at super late hours, and making sure that your circadian rhythm is in line so that you're waking up as the environment guides you to. So I think this goes back to the conversation again about why the modern environment is so bad for having a really good cortisol awakening response. And things like blue light. I know we have light right here is helping us, helping you guys able to see us right now. But even this is going to disrupt our body's internal clock to some degree. So limiting blue light exposure later in the days is super important. and getting proper sunlight exposure in the morning because that has the essential wavelengths of light that you need or that your body needs in order to be efficient in energy production.
If you
And
had to,
uh,
oh,
so actually today, like I've been trying to have coffee as well as my morning sunrise, going outside and making sure I am sun gazing during the waking hours of the day. And today especially I had a little less sleep than usual. And early in the morning I got my morning sunshine as well as drank some coffee, and even till right now I feel still pretty good energy. So even if you have less sleep, you can make sure you have energy throughout the day if you just use those two things together instead of having caffeine in the middle of the day.
Yeah, and I think yeah, that just goes to show like how like did you have the usual caffeine amount or less?
Yeah, I had the usual caffeine amount. I usually have every day around 60 to 80 milligrams of caffeine. Not too much is necessary, but I did have it in the morning with the morning sunshine. So I felt like it really impacted my energy throughout the day.
Yeah, so I think yeah, if Joshin right there is a good example for how this effect can really impact you. So what I would say for Alex is to go to sleep at a reasonable time, and even say if you are not able to get the best sleep possible in the morning, just don't worry as much about getting prepared for the day. So limit the time between you getting up and getting outside and getting that sunlight exposure. So what you want to do is if even if you're not fully ready, just get up and get there out there first because if you don't, you're missing that window which is around roughly 90 minutes long when you're able to increase your cortisol awakening response. So you're if you get say you get up out of bed, right? Don't take like 3 hours or 4 hours to get ready because then you would have passed that window by 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 three times. So get up, maybe make your way out to
And it's a very narrow window, right?
yeah 90 minutes. So I would say like not uh, I I think 90 minutes is pretty reasonable, but yeah for I don't know if the worst thing to do is to wake up and go immediately to your phone because then that's just going to keep you in bed much longer than you need to be. And that's what I think people usually do as far as their routine, especially when they don't have things to do. And when they do have things to do, like for example, usually like a desk job, you get up, get ready, get in your car, and then go sit in an office building or setting, and in that time frame, you're not really getting any um, uh,
Sun exposure.
yeah, sun exposure or harnessing any energy from the sun to increase your cortisol spike.
And
So
also something that I've been utilizing sometimes is morning walks on the weekends. Like once in a while I take a morning walk. Doesn't have to be that far, but if you're waking up and going right out taking a morning walk, you're getting your sunlight as well as warming your body up for activities during the day.
yeah, so if I could give you the biggest key, it would be that early morning sun exposure. And two other things I learned from uh, Dr. Huberman was that there's two things that you can consume to help with metabolism to increase energy needs or excuse me increase energy. It's actually one is grapefruit, and grapefruit has some enzymes that can aid in helping you use your body's energy sources to then for you to actually put that energy to use and feel much better. And then also licorice root is a another good thing you can consume. The thing with licorice root is you want the licorice root that has glycyrrhizin. um, I don't actually remember exactly right now off the top of my head what glycyrrhizin does biologically, but I know that it's also a good thing to do to consume to help. Actually, no, I think one of them prevents cortisol or delays cortisol metabolism. And that could probably help earlier in the day. Of course, you want cortisol to, drop down during the later stages of the day so you can fall asleep. Also, one other thing that's super important is that people don't actually think about this, but darkness is not really the like environmental trigger for melatonin production. It's actually the sunlight or the UV sunlight that you get in the morning that then sets the stage for melatonin production at night. So just think of it as like something that is pre-scheduled or predetermined. So don't just assume that, oh, if it's dark out, my body is automatically producing melatonin. Just know that the sunlight in the morning is what sets the stage for melatonin to be produced during nighttime. So then that pretty much fixes your entire circadian rhythm, because now you have addressed your morning needs and then you've addressed your nighttime needs.
So if you had to guesstimate like the peak cortisol, what would you say like the half-life would be like in other terms like would you get like the same amount of energy supplying you throughout the day like caffeine? I know you used to do sun gazing. Did you observe like while you're getting the sunlight energy, you didn't need to drink coffee as much or
Yeah, I didn't need to drink coffee as much, and like I said, the coffee that I did consume was a lot more potent because like like I just said, like think about the possible, like all the energy that you have for the day, like that's determined by your, or mostly determined by your cortisol awakening response. And since like, or the higher your cortisol peak is in the morning, or the higher you can make it in the morning, is pretty much what's going to determine how much energy you have to expend during the day. So imagine like you go to a bank, or you wake up and you have a like certain amount of money you can spend throughout the day. Like if you don't go in the morning to cash the check, or withdraw, then you don't have the money to spend for the rest of the day. So
so
kind of see it like that.
so the earlier you wake up and the more sunlight you get, like so like the more amount of money you'll have for the allowance your parents will give you to spend.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, early is relative, but like just getting the sun exposure to where you're directly able to like increase the cortisol spike pretty much. So yeah, that's gonna be like, yeah, determining how much energy you can, or money you can kind of spend throughout your day. And anything else, or specifically caffeine, doesn't give you more money or energy for the day. It just masks the amount of money you have per day. Like it's just like kind of a like an illusion, like we talked about. And yeah. And yeah, I think we definitely got into,
Got everything?
yeah, I think, anything else you guys have to say?
No, but I do want to say I apologize for the technical difficulties that we've come across today. It is a new type of streaming that we're doing where we have a better setup, but like please cut us some slack, and next time we'll make sure to get rid of all these difficulties that we've been facing.
Yeah, again, we apologize. And yeah, hopefully we cleared up most of the things as far as caffeine for you guys. And if you guys have any question, please contact us at any of our social media platforms, or by phone, or email as well. All of the social media tags or handles are at Healing Your Way. We are here on Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So please check out all of those platforms, and please give us a like and a follow if you like our content, so we can keep posting more information for you guys to educate, and for us to even learn ourselves. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all you guys for joining us on today's episode, and we will see you on next Friday's podcast.
Thank
See
you
you
guys
guys.
so much. Thank you guys.
Next time on Figure Out Friday.